In today's topic, the Brodmann's areas of the cerebral cortex and their functions are described. Here is a picture of Corbinian Brodmann, whose contribution somewhere in 1909 had made a remarkable shift or a remarkable change in the areas of the brain. Who is he? He is a German neurologist, and he studied the cerebral cortex according to the cytoarchitectonic basis of the cerebral cortex. What is this cytoarchitectonic? It is the cell size, the spacing, packing density, and laminar organization. That means layer organization. All these characters were taken into consideration, and after taking into consideration, he categorized the he has taken the entire cerebral cortex and he delineated 52 areas in the cerebral cortex. And these 52 areas, he published it in the book. This is the book which appeared in 1909. This is the famous monography or a book by Brodmann, 1909. And in this book, so you can see that it is in German. And this was the sum of the final version of the map of the cerebral cortex is given here. This is the lateral view, and this is a sagittal view. So if you are looking at these pictures, you feel that it's all more complex. It's all more complex, and how painfully or how with all the troubles Brodmann did it. Okay, so now the importance of the Brodmann, you just see that 1909 or 1910 is the publication of this book. And the citations is who have read this book. The citations were almost practically negligible here, up to the level of 60s. This is 65, 70, 75. Okay, up to that time there was a very flat citations. That means there are very few readers of this book. This source was taken from Web of Science, that is the source. And later on, what happened? Somewhere in 1975, the CT scan developed. That is the PET scanning of the brain mapping or brain imaging developed. And this is the period. Once the PET scanning or CT scan is coming up, see the rise in the number of persons referring this book or using this book as a resource. Somewhere here in 1993 or 94, the MRIs, especially the functional MRIs of the brain, it was introduced. So you can just see that a sudden increase in the number of persons using this or citing this particular book increased tremendously. This is the data up to 2015. So 6 years from then, maybe if I plot another 6 years, maybe it will cross, it will be many more citations than before. What I mean to say that the work done by Brodmann a century or 120 years back now has found the light of the day and is in demand, and especially with the imaging techniques we know. So that means tomorrow if you are becoming a neurosurgeon or a neurologist or a radiology person or a scanning this imaging, so then you will refer and you will say that a particular area is damaged. So in that context, it becomes relevant for us to understand what are those areas. Now Brodmann has come back with a great importance for all of us. Now, looking these things, we just continue to understand what were these areas. Okay, so now this is the lateral part of the brain. The first one, the Brodmann labeled as area number 1. Area number 1 is the, suppose this is the sulcus. This is the sulcus here on the top. Top is the gyrus, and this is the thing. This he studied that, and he marked that as a area 1. So then after seeing the area 1, he just went into the interior. This is area 2 and area 3. And we know that this is a primary somatosensory area. 3 is interior. This is the central sulcus. So that means dipping into the central sulcus. Then on the top of that gyrus, that's number 1. Then again another sulcus, the gyrus is dipping down, that is area 2. 3, 1, 2. And now we know that this is in the parietal lobe. This is a primary somatosensory area, or primary somatosensory cortex, area 3, 1, 2. So then area 4 is anterior to the central sulcus. These 3, 1, 2 is posterior to the central sulcus, anterior to the central sulcus, the area 4. And this area is a motor cortex, and it is a primary motor cortex. That is, it's mainly a pyramidal cell layer, where giant pyramidal cells are prominent. That is a primary motor cortex. So this is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one is just on the posterior cortex, and this 5th one becomes the somatosensory association area, 5, 7. Somatosensory association area, 5, 7, and that is 5th. So that is the 5th. 6th is here. It is the premotor area and supplementary motor area. So that means nomenclature of these areas are not in sequence or not in series, either in this direction or in this direction. He was studying the cytoarchitectonic layers, and then he was trying to identify. That means it is area 6 is the supplementary motor area and the premotor area. Then 7 comes here. You just see that 7 is here. This 7 is again a somatosensory association area. So similar to 5. 5, 7, 6. Then comes the 8. This 8 is again a part of the motor system. This is a frontal eye field. So that means it is concerned with the eyeball movements of the eyeballs, and this is known as a frontal eye field. This is 8. Then comes we have a 9, 10, 11, 12 up to 13. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. These form the prefrontal cortex. You just see that the prefrontal cortex, they are coming in series, one after another. 9, 10, 11, 12, and somewhere here 13. So that is the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex. I mentioned about this is a frontal area. This entire thing anterior to the central sulcus. This is a frontal area, and this is a parietal area, and this is a temporal lobe, and this is occipital lobe. Then after having been considered number 12, so then up to 13, then comes 14, 15 and 16, especially the 15 and 16s are present in the non-human primates. Then comes the area number 17. Area number 17, you have area number 17. It is the primary visual cortex. Primary visual cortex. Then the 18. The next to it is 18 and 19. These are secondary visual cortices. Secondary visual cortex. V2, this one becomes a V3, V4, V5, and even 39. This is a visual association area of the cortex. So that means 17, 18, 19, I will consider. So then comes this temporal lobe. So this 19, from the 19, the temporal lobe is coming up. The inferior temporal area, this inferior, this thing, the 20, 21, 22. 20, 21, 22. Then 23 and 24 are inside. I will tell about that. Then, but here after 22, suddenly we have got those areas like 37, 38. 38 is here, 39 is here, the 40 is here, and we have 44 and 45. These are the areas which are visible to us. So now the 41 and 42, these are the areas. The 41 and 42 are auditory area. This is auditory cortex. So 43 is somewhere here. That is a gustatory area. So now we have 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Then comes the 44 and 45. Then we have those areas. Some areas are within the when we see it inside, or they are interior. When you take the sagittal section, you see that. You just see this. This is the sagittal section. Again, I repeat, you will visualize certain other areas like 3, 1, 2. This is a primary somatosensory area. 4, motor cortex. 5, this somatosensory association area. 7 is here. So then comes 6 is this. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Some part here, the 13. So then I said 15, 16 are missing, 17, 18, 19. Okay. Then comes 20, 21, 22 are not seen because they are seen in the temporal lobe on the externally. Then comes we have this 20, 28, 20, 23, 24. This is cingulate cortex. 23, 24 cingulate cortex. Then after that 28 is the uncus. Then comes we have other areas which we have not seen them. 34, 38, 38. Then we have 39. We see it outside. So these are some of the areas. What I have made here, I will just read about what I have made here in each of them. The various lobes I have identified, I have labeled them. Okay, this one I have taken it from the atlas, the Brodmann area function atlas, which is updated in January 2010. So that means it's a very latest, and it is one of the things which would be very, very useful to you in the coming years. As the importance of this increases, you will know more about the importance. Okay, so now with this broad idea, I just move on, because it's not enough for me to just what is the mapping or surface location of these areas. More than that, what those areas mean to us, that is an important aspect. You know what I'm talking about. So okay, numbers do not mean to us, and what they mean to us. Here it is a color-coded brain here. This green, this part, this is the occipital cortex, and this part is the parietal cortex, and this part is the frontal cortex, and this is a temporal cortex. Now we consider here in this slide the Brodmann's area for somatic sensation. So I have used this color, and this color matches here to these areas. Brodmann's area for somatic sensation, we have area 312. I have written here the area, the location, the name, and the functions, the 312. I was struggling to explain you how that 312 is coming. 1 is here on the top, 3 is here in this bottom of the central sulcus on the anterior side, and 2 is the sulcus on the posterior side. 3, 1, 2. This is the parietal lobe, postcentral gyrus. This is also known as a somatosensory area number 1, S1. And this is responsible, I have mentioned here, this is responsible for sensory somesthetic sensation, localization, and discrimination. Okay, so now comes area 40 and 43. 40 and 43. These are color codes I have already made. 40 and 43. These 40 and 43 are known as, they are situated in the, this is a lateral fissure. They are situated in superior to the lateral fissure, and this is known as a S2, somatosensory area 2. That is the, which assists the somatosensory area. And it will try to detect the attributes of the sensory modality. It will try to provide the attributes of the sensory modality. So it is in terms, it analyzes the sensory modality. Here in the first one, sensory localization is taking place and discrimination is taking place. And here the attributes of the sensory modality are being given in this 40 and 43. And especially this 43 is supplying the taste. That is a gustatory sensation. The 43, it is for the taste sensation, that is a gustatory sensation. Okay, then comes, we have 5 and 7. 5 and 7 are the association area, the somatosensory association area. So that means somatosensory association area, they integrate. They give the fine details of the sensory modality and integrate the entire sensory processing in reference to the occipital cortex and in reference to the auditory cortex, in reference to the limbic cortex. So that is about the Brodmann's area for somatic sensation. Here 3, 1, 2, 40, 43, 5 and 7. So this table I have created with getting the information from other resources. Okay, after seeing the somatic sensation, this is one of the important things wherein all the time we say that the fibers reach to area 312 in the parietal cortex in the posterior to the central sulcus. That is where we say all the sensory modalities. Then comes the Brodmann's area for the motor functions. I have changed the color here, and this color matches with these areas. The 4, 6, and 8. These are Brodmann's areas which are concerned with the motor functions. So the 4-1 is the frontal precentral gyrus. This is the precentral gyrus. This is the central sulcus here, and it is prior or anterior to the central sulcus. It is area 4. So then anterior to this area is the area 6, and area 6 is the premotor area and even supplementary motor area 6. So then this, if you are looking at the M1 is 4, that is the primary motor area. This is for the voluntary action. So that means it will send the cortico-bulbar or cortico-spinal tracts to produce the voluntary action. Number 4. Number 6 also participate in the voluntary action, but it is before the voluntary action. It will talk to the ideation. This is the idea is coming here. The planning is coming here from the frontal cortex, and in association with the basal ganglia and the cerebellum, it will try to give a command to the area 4. So that means premotor area or supplementary motor area that will give the guidance. But this premotor area and supplementary motor area are connected with the motor association areas. That is area 8 and part of 6. So these motor association area that interacts with the basal ganglia and cerebellum, and then finally give command to the M1. This is M1 here. So that is about the motor cortex. Okay, so now needless to say here that area 44 and 45, again a motor part that is concerned with the vocal cords, that is a production of the voice speech, but that is more complex. That I will deal with the prefrontal cortex. This Broca's, what I have written, this is the motor component of the speech. So that is about Brodmann's area 4, 6, and 8 that is concerned with the motor functions. Then we have the prefrontal area. These are the prefrontal areas. You can just see that. These prefrontal areas, look at that prefrontal areas. Here I have written 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, 14. These 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They go inside. They go interior. Okay. Then after that we have 24, 25. That is interior to the cingulate cortex. 32. These are cingulate. 44, 45, 46. The 44, 45, 46. This is again this area. These and 47. These are all concerned with the prefrontal area. You can just see that. And we can divide the prefrontal cortex into four major groups. Maybe when I take up the prefrontal cortex, I will go little more. But here I mention dorsolateral, ventrolateral, medial prefrontal, and ventral prefrontal. So that means there are four groups. So this forms the ventral. The medial is going inside. This is outside. This is lateral, going inside. And this is the dorsolateral. This 9 and 10. 9 and 10 dorsolateral, even 46. 8, 9, 10, and 46 are dorsolateral. Then ventrolateral are 45 and 47 are ventrolateral. Then 44, 45, 47 are the ventrolateral. Then comes the medial. Medial means 12 is not seen here. 12 is inside. 12, 25, 24, 32, 33. These are medial prefrontal that forms the cingulate cortex. These are the parts of the cingulate cortex. Then ventral is here 11, 13, 14. So these are four areas. And once we see the areas, what their function, this part, especially the dorsolateral part, it is for the working memory, planning, self-control, self-restraints, attention, and the executive functions. Executive functions for all of our activities, for all of our even planning, whatever we try to be. So our personality be, what actions or what we want to do in the long-term goals, short-term goals, everything is here in the executive function. So that is the dorsolateral. Then area number 8, I have color coded here. Area number 8 is a frontal eye field. So that is for the attention. You focus your the frontal that eyeballs to a particular object. So that is the attention part. So, and movements of the eyeball. Suppose if I stimulate this area number 8, the eyeballs start moving. So now number 10 and 46. 10 is a polar frontal area, frontal polar area, and this frontal polar area is also concerned with some of the executive functions. Okay, so now comes the area number 45, 44, 45, and 47. The ventrolateral is 47. 47 is here, and this is for the language. 44 and 45 are the Broca's area, that is this production. 47 is for the language, and the language is what words to be used, how to be used, what is the synthesis of those words, and all those things are there in the 47. 44 and 45, it executes those words. It will say that, come on, you say a particular word. Whatever I am doing, it is coming from the 47, and then 47 will ask the number 44, 45, that is Broca's area, to pronounce those words through the vocal cords. Then 12, that is in the medial prefrontal area, that is not seen here, that is interior. So they have 12, 24, 25, 24, 32, 33. That these 24, 32, 33 are cingulate cortex and the medial prefrontal cortex. And this medial prefrontal cortex is the slow wave sleep. The sleep is divided into two: the fast wave sleep and a slow wave sleep, or a desynchronized sleep or a synchronized sleep. Slow wave sleep is a synchronized sleep. So this slow wave sleep, NREM sleep, what we say, that is governed by this area. particularly the medial prefrontal area. So then it will have the visual and auditory tracking. So whenever we try to track these things, the visual and auditory tracking and these, to some extent, attention. Then if you are coming back with this 24, 32, 33, which are marked with red, this is a cingulate cortex. And this is connected with the cingulate cortex. The cingulate cortex deliver this, that is concerned with the emotional aspects, emotional expressions. So the sense of joy or the happiness or your anguish or any type of sadness, any type of sensation, emotional expressions, they are coming through here, through the cingulate cortex. And especially your responses to pain. So sometimes we will feel, this morning when I was cycling, I saw a very big snake. And it was very big, maybe 6 to 7 feet long. And suddenly I have to say, exclaim. When I exclaimed, the snake stopped. So that means that type of emotional expressions are coming from this. And even the emotional expressions resulting out of the pain, whenever we are having agony or pain, that is coming with the cingulate cortex. And it is also the feeling, whatever the things we feel, that is coming up here, that is the cingulate prefrontal cortex. 11, 13, 14 are a ventral prefrontal cortex. They are concerned with the social behavior, the emotions associated with the social behavior, the judgment, the distraction. That means it tries to suppress the distraction, because we have many distractors. And this is the center where it stops, or it tries to modulate those distractions. So I broadly provided the idea of these numbers and executed, and this is one of the things I wanted to give it to you. Then move on to this Brodmann's area concerning with the temporal cortex. This is a temporal cortex or temporal lobe. This temporal lobe, now we have, if you are looking at 30, 38, 20, 21, 22, 41, 42. Am I right? So now if you are looking at 38, 38 covers these, because there are two sulci here. One is the superior sulci and the inferior sulci. That makes the temporal lobe into temporal lobes into 3 divisions. One, the inferior division, the middle division, and the superior division. So now this is the superior temporal. This is superior temporal, the blue one, the superior temporal cortex. In this we have area 22, 41, and 42. 22, 41, 42. Okay, so then we have 38. 38 is here. 38 is common for all these 3. 38 is common for 20, 21, 22. And then we have 43. 43 is also coming with the superior. So now what they mean to us? So superior temporal, especially this part, is auditory. It contains both auditory association area, number 1 and number 2. So now 22 is a Wernicke's area. This is a Wernicke's area, that is the sensory speech center, sensory component of the speech centers. So that means meaningful words, the words with giving attributes and a meaning, that is the sensory component, that is the Wernicke's area. Then gustatory, 43 is a gustatory, that means the taste buds. So now if I were to translate what are those functions, one is auditory. Then we have this certain part here, especially 38. 38 is concerned with the olfaction, the emotions, the sexuality, the paralimbic areas, hippocampus, amygdala. All these 3 things. That means all the limbic system is coming up here in this part. 38 and 22, I have just put them. So now these areas, they will try to do all those functions, especially the amygdala is concerned with the emotions. and the part of the sexuality, and the olfactory cortex is for olfaction, and paralimbic areas for the memory, and especially the hippocampus part is for the memory. So that is what the functions of this particular superior temporal area. So then middle temporal, this is the 21. 21 is the middle temporal, but it has a commonality with the 38, commonality with the 38, and a commonality with the 37. You can just see that 21, 37, 38. And this is concerned with the middle temporal, and this is concerned with the language. The auditory component of the language, and it has in association with the area 19 and area 39, that is the face recognition and audio visual recognition. Audio visual recognition is associated. 37 is a part, 19 is a visual, and 37 is auditory, is connected, and audio visual recognition and face recognition and the language are the functions of these middle temporal gyrus. So then we have the inferior temporal gyrus. This is inferior temporal gyrus. You can just see that this is connected here to the 38 as well as to 37. 20, 37, 38. The functions of 37 or 38 are already mentioned here in this red areas. They are part of the limbic system, and 37 is also I mentioned about the face recognition. But here, that is what is coming up here. This is a high order of visual memory. High order of the visual memory. So very, very distinct features, they are stored here. And the face or object recognition, they are all. Already the face and object recognition is started or is there in that number 21, and 20 is the most specific site. That is a Brodmann area for the temporal cortex. And broadly, I have mentioned about the functions. So that means any destruction or any of the damages may alter all these components of the functions. Now comes the Brodmann's area for vision. So I have used this color exactly. I did not match with this color. And this is 17, 18, 19. 17 is a primary visual area. This is where the lateral geniculate body directly projects to the area number 17. One half of the, in case of the vision, the left side receives information of the left side of the field of vision. Left half of the field of vision. Right hemisphere receives with the right half of the field of vision. So like that, you get the halves of the vision, not the visual field are distributed. This is here is the seat for visual acuity, visual identification, just like a localized tactile localization here in 312. This is a area V1 and visual acuity and visual identification. Then area number 8 is the V2 or the secondary visual area. And in this, the color processing begins. Color processing is a very complex one, where the cortex is the layer 4 of the visual cortex is divided. There are what are called blocks created. So these blocks blocks are blobs. These blobs, especially the 4 is divided into 4A, B, C. It becomes very thick, and these blobs they try to process the color, and they also detect the motion, because even a small insect moving somewhere in your visual field, it will be identified, so that the motion analysis, the angular analysis, or a three-dimensional analysis is taking place here in area 18. This is area 18 here. Number 19, this is the association area, and this associates in reference to the auditory, in reference to the somatosensory, in reference to the limbic system. So, and it is also a storehouse for a visual memory, and it is it analyzes the 3D images, and it will have a shape recognition, and it will try to provide the attention, because attention, this 19 is given to the area 8 here, this frontal association area. This is these two are interconnected. So from the occipital to the frontal, so this is attention. That is the Brodmann's area for vision. Then what are the areas for hearing? Brodmann's areas for hearing. If you are looking at, so look here, 41, 42, and 39. 41 and 42 and 39. These are the Brodmann's area for hearing. So now let us see what is this. 41 and 42 are a primary auditory area. I am mentioning it as A1. This forms the Hessel's gyrus in the temporal lobe. And this would be auditory processing, tonotopic organization. Here the basilar membrane of the cochlea, that means the frequency, it is having a different frequency, and that frequency is that is tonotopic. So that is being allocated here in 41 and 42. And it will try to discriminate the frequencies and the intensity of the sound. So that is where this primary auditory area. So number 42 is a little higher order. It is forming the association area, and along with the 39. Along with the 39, it forms the auditory association area, and that will try to organize or trying to understand the timbre of the sound and the musical notes of the sound. That means the particular thing. Maybe if I were to recall certain songs which I have heard during my childhood days, when I get them, maybe all those things are stored here, and I get that particular notes. So then auditory association area, the coordination with the parieto-occipito temporal regions. So that means the parietal regions and the this is the occipital region. So that means when suppose you had seen maybe you are young, maybe at the whenever you have seen certain movie maybe 10 years back, you try to recall particular scene coming up and particular sound is coming up, you suddenly recall those images along with the feelings, all those things. So that is about Brodmann's area for hearing. They are 41, 42, and 39. Then comes a Brodmann's area for limbic system. It's more complex for the limbic system. So now I have made here, these are the areas 27, 28. This is 27 and this is 28. Okay, so these are the hippocampal, parahippocampal, and subiculum and olfactory areas 27, 28. And they are concerned with the memory, emotion, placing, GPS. This is the center, especially the subiculum forms the GPS of our brain. We will try to place ourselves in the wherever. Suppose if I am going to a town or in a strange town, I try to identify the identifiers and I try to come back. This is where the GPS is located, and it is associated with the sexual behavior. 27 and 28. 23, 24. This is cingulate cortex. 23, 24, and part of 33 and 32. These are 23, 24 are cingulate cortex that are concerned with the limbic system. 32, 33 are the parts which are concerned with the prefrontal lobe. So now these two, 23, 24 are connected with 32, 33. So that means that is in association with the prefrontal cortex. That means it joins the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, and that would be trying to bring in the expressions of emotions in response to the stress, in response to the pain, or in response to any of the events. Then we have a 35, 36, 40, 35, 36, 35. 36, and 48 and 49. 48 and 49, 35 is here, 36 is nested here. 48 and 49, they are coming in the superior surface. So when they are there, they are olfactory, hippocampal, and hippocampal areas. They are concerned with the memory and the behavioral changes. These are the Brodmann areas for limbic system. Now, in summary, here in this graph, I have shown with a color code the various aspects. This color, the pink one, 4, 6, 8, they perform motor. Then comes the yellow. Yellow are the prefrontal cortex. They are executive functions. These areas are 9, 10, and 46, 45, and 44. These are executive functions. 44 and 45 are the Broca's area. Then comes this purple. This is somatosensory. This is somatosensory, 3, 1, 2, 5, 40, and 7. So then now this particular dull or dull green, this is for attention, 7 and 39. These are for attention. Then this greenish, this is an occipital area that is for visual functions. So this green one, the fluorescent green, 20, 21, and 37, this is concerned with the hippocampus. This is a memory. This is a memory. And this, the orange red or orange, this is for emotional, that parts, the part of the frontal cortex and the part of the amygdala, and even inside, if you go, the cingulate cortex, the emotional regulation. And this part, if you just see here, this is sound or hearing. And area 43 is gustatory. Area 43 is gustatory. So this is in summary about all the areas, and they are color coded there, and you can try to depict each one of them. Then how I summarize? I just summarized the important ones here for your sake. The Brodmann categorized the brain areas in numbers depending upon the cell type, density, function, and their laminar organization. Sensory area, I will classify, or the area Brodmann areas are 3, 1, 2, 5, 7, 40, 43. Primary sensory S1, S2, association area. The motor areas are 4, 6, 8. This is M1, M2, and this is motor association area. The visual areas are 17, 18, 19. That is V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, because the visual association area are many. Auditory area 41, 42, and some part of the 22 and 39. Sensory association area are 7 and 39. Broca's area 44 and 45. The frontal eye field, where the eyeballs are moving, the area number 8. Wernicke's area, where the sensory speech, that means the whole complexity, speech formation. So what words to be chosen and how to be chosen, the grammar. So all these things are there in area 22, which is being transferred to the Broca's area to produce the sound, or a particular sound, that is 22. The frontal area includes area 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 23, and some part of the 32, 33, something like that. Limbic areas are 27, 28, 23, 24, 25, 36, 48, and 49. Now, just I have summarized most frequently associated areas, wherein you will be dealing with them, or we will be dealing with them in the discussions of the nervous system. Okay. This one I could be able to provide you in a nutshell, keeping in consideration of the books, because most of the books do not have those tables I have made. The links which appeared in January 2010. This is the link, and also from the paper by Gillis in brain and many other data. So many other literature. I have put them together to get you the broad outline of the Brodmann areas. The assignments include Brodmann area, write something about Brodmann area 312, 57, 23, 24, area 43, 17, 18, 19, 44, 45, 22, 9, 10, 11, 12. So give a brief 3 to 5 bullet things you just mention about these areas, so that you have acquired some part about the Brodmann's concepts. In the next class, I will deal with the functional organization of the thalamus. Okay, thank you.